Hey everybody, and welcome to this video on the transactional messaging MCP. My name is Brad Hudson, and I'm excited today to walk you all through a quick demo of our new MCP and some of the value that you can get from this MCP. First things first, we want to talk about what an MCP is. So it stands for Model Context Protocol, and essentially it's a way for us to connect our AI agents with different platforms like Mandrill. So you may be using OpenAI, Claude, DeepSeek, a number of different agents, and you're also using platforms like GitHub, Slack, Zendesk, Mandrill, QuickBooks, Salesforce, and a variety of other platforms. Well, there's a number of ways that we can communicate with these platforms, typically through APIs, but another way that we can communicate with them is via an MCP. Well, here at Mandrill and Intuit, we have created a Mandrill MCP that is going to make that so much easier. So in practice, what is that going to look like? Well, here's a few examples. You may be working inside of your agent and you may say, hey, how did my last email perform? Well, that's going to then hit the Mandrill MCP and go out to Mandrill and get that information for you. Similarly, you could ask GitHub, hey, do I have any open PRs? Or maybe you want to send a Slack message to your team. This is where MCPs help you in your day-to-day workflow with your AI agents, allowing you to continue to work without having to go to those platforms to get those answers. Now, I first want to direct you towards our documentation, which is going to show you how to get up and running with the MCP, a little bit more information on what it is, what it can do, and exactly what prerequisites you're going to need. So the only thing you're really going to need to start using this is an API key and some kind of application that has an AI agent. Maybe it's VS Code or Cursor or your Claude or ChatGPT environment. Any of those environments are probably going to allow you to configure an MCP. So after you have your API key, you're essentially going to copy and paste this little block of JSON code into your settings. Your API key is simply going to go right here, and that's about it. If you are using one of these agents, you can also just ask it, hey, I'm trying to set up the Mandrill MCP. Here's the instructions they gave me. We have instructions for Claude Desktop, Claude Code, Cursor, etc. And if you would like to manage your MCP access, you can also do that. We also have some example prompts down here at the bottom to kind of get you going. Now let's take a look at Cursor and see the MCP in action. So first and foremost, in my Cursor settings, I've configured my Mandrill MCP right here. And this is where you're going to go to use your API key and paste our little JSON blob. I'm not going to click it just because I don't want to expose my API key here on the video, but that's how you're going to configure this. So the next thing that we're going to want to do is we have our little agent window over here. And this is where we can use our MCP to reach out to Mandrill and get information about our account. Now, after you've configured the MCP, the first thing you're probably going to want to do is just make sure that it's working. Test the Mandrill MCP. So we're just going to ask the Mandrill MCP to ping it, see if it's working. So now Cursor is going to give us some details on everything that it's doing. It's going to probably run some API calls on the back end. And now it's going to tell us the Mandrill MCP is working. Here's a summary of our account. Looks like we have our username, our reputation, and it's even going to tell us some information about all of our domains. Looks like it's even offering us some information about some of our domains needing verification. So in this way, we can use the MCP to quickly check things about our account. Let's try a different command. Maybe we're inside of our project, and instead of going to Mandrill to find information about our campaign sends, maybe we just want to ask the MCP. So let's say using the Mandrill MCP, how are my emails over the past 30 days? This may be a question that you have for your marketing team or somebody who would traditionally have to load it up, maybe filter, search, but using our MCP right here inside of Cursor, we're going to be able to get that information. And as it runs, you can see that it's calling a number of different endpoints. It's trying to find that information, and it's going to compile it and hopefully show us a nice chart for us to view. And here's the results that Cursor was able to find about our 30-day email report. So it said, I've created a canvas with your full 30-day email report. Here's the overview. We've sent 870 emails. Here's our open rate, our click rate, and it even returned it by tag. And output a nice little report for us to look at. So in this way, you don't need to go all the way to the platform to see information about your emails. So we've looked at how we set it up, how we can analyze, but what if we just want to test an email send? Maybe we want to make sure that everything's working. Well, here's a simple command. You could say, send an email to, in this case, Brad Hudson at Intuit with the message, hey, my MCP sent this. And in this way, you're not going to need to make any API calls. You can just make sure that everything is working properly with your Mandrill account. Great. And we get an email sent successfully confirmation saying to Brad Hudson from our website. We get the subject line, sent, and all of that. Now let's imagine that we're working on a form on our website. Maybe we want to test this form out. Our designers passed us this along. We've been developing it. And now we want to test the form. We could simply use the MCP to test this form send. We could say something like, using the Mandrill MCP, send a test contact form message with the email field Brad Hudson at Intuit in the message, this is a test message. And here we can see inside of our inbox the email that was sent. And this was all done using the Mandrill MCP. So far, we've looked at a number of different ways that we can use the MCP. We can use it to make sure that our account's configured properly. We can use it to test sending. We could even use it to test sending forms, but we could also use it to debug. So let's imagine that we have an email that didn't go through for some reason. So what we have here is we have a sample email address that was rejected. And we're going to say, using the Mandrill MCP, help me troubleshoot my most recent attempt to send to this email address. Why did it fail to send? So the Mandrill MCP was able to determine that this email address is on your rejection list, which is why any attempt to send to it fails silently before it ever reaches the message log. And then it shows us the reason and the value and everything about why this email failed to send. So in this way, let's imagine that you're testing, you're developing, maybe you're running your business. You are able to just talk to your agent in natural language and be able to debug, analyze, and understand more about your Mandrill account and all of the emails that you're sending out. Thanks for checking out this video today. We really hope that you found the information helpful, and we look forward to seeing what you build with the Mandrill MCP. If you have any questions, please stop by our office hours or shoot us an email. Otherwise, thank you again. Hope you have a great day. See ya.